You're listening to the Ultimate Media Broadcast Network. This is for adults only. No ADD, ADHD, OCD, ODD, or rectal leakage allowed.
Fail.
You're listening to The Political Blender, brought to you by the Alternative Media Broadcast Network, spotted by DJ Doom.
For those of you out there who are aware with what's been going on our planet today for the last several months, millions and millions of people across the world are reporting strange things happening around them. Reports of huge seismic activity happening all across the globe. Strange objects being seen by millions of people across the world, including nations and countries and states like Florida, Peru, China, Russia, England, Switzerland. Millions of animals just suddenly dropping dead. Sleeping volcanoes now erupting. How many times in the past year have we heard or seen a volcano just in some part of the world just erupting? Even supervolcanoes, Yellowstone in particular, with reports of huge seismic activity happening within the magma chamber below. Not only that, but the ground itself has risen by 2 feet. It might not seem like much, but that is a huge scale to be tipping. Vast rivers and lakes suddenly turning into blood. But yet, so many of you still want proof. So many of you still want proof when you're presented with reports and documentation and experts coming up and saying, wow, this is really unusual. You're quick to label it as normal. What in God's name is possibly normal with millions of animals just suddenly dropping dead? Millions of birds falling out the sky, whales being washed up on shore, dolphins just disappearing. About millions and millions of people reporting and documenting seeing strange objects and strange things in the sky. But yet you want to label that as normal. You know, a lot of you people are quick to dismiss this. You know, you ought to say, well, it's happened before and our planet is changing. Well, no duh, our planet is changing, but the things that are happening within it are very unusual. You have NASA, for the love of God, NASA, who has reported seeing these strange objects circling and hovering around our sun. How do you explain that? How do you categorize that as normal? You have world-renowned scientists coming up saying all of these sinkholes that are subtly appearing on the planet, that is not supposed to happen. That is quite unusual, and they cannot actually pinpoint or find out why this is happening. But yet some of you out there want to label that as being normal. I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. But you know what? That's okay too, because a lot of you out there want to bash me for that. Oh, God doesn't exist, blah, blah, blah. You know what? If I'm wrong on my views and you're right about there not being a God, you know what? Kudos to you. Because you don't gain anything, but I don't lose anything either. But I know for a fact that when I'm right and you're wrong, I lose nothing. But yet you lose absolutely everything. A lot of you guys rather choose to believe in somebody like Aleister Crowley than just at least have some faith in yourself and have some faith that, wow, you know, some of these things that are happening could relate. It could relate. But yet a lot of you guys go out there and you're saying, well, the Bible was written by a man, not God. Well, no doubt, when you write a letter, who's writing the letter? You or the pen? Obviously you are. You are just using the pen as an instrument for you to deliver your message. God used man as an instrument to deliver his message. But you know what? You can believe whatever you want to believe. The fact that these things are occurring on our planet today, it needs to be addressed, and you people ought to find out what's going on, because a lot of you are quick to dismiss this, go off, go get drunk, go get high, and just completely forget about the fact that one day, if something does happen, you're going to be quick to go, wow, I didn't know about this, holy crap. Everything is controlled and carefully monitored by a small group of very powerful people. Very powerful. More powerful than you can ever imagine. These are people who make the money, who print the money. Do you really think, do you honestly think that they really care about you? Or me, or your friends, your family, your daughter, your cat, your dog? They don't care about anything. except for themselves. Now, I want you guys to do me a quick favor. Since a lot of you guys are quick to label things crazy and conspiracy, I want you to do your own research. Research HARP, research Project Bluebeam, research the Council of Foreign Relations. Now, what you're about to see is very chilling. I'm just here to help show you what is going on our planet today. May God have mercy on humanity. Take a look.
We're back now with the puzzling story of a massive kill of wildlife in the state of Arkansas. Birds falling out of the sky, the result of some sort of trauma, and fish found dead in the water. Thousands of them in separate incidents in the same state.
Some have called biblical type events that have many residents wondering what's next.
Back now to our top story, a terrible mystery gripping the world right now. Birds, fish, and all kinds of creatures just dropping dead in huge numbers for what seems like no reason.
Southwestern megacity of Chongqing have been puzzled by this strange sight this week. These images of the Yangtze River, the longest in China, have been surfacing since Wednesday. This stretch of the river around Chongqing looks like it's been dyed blood red.
An Australian filmmaker has captured what's being described as a fire tornado on camera. The extremely rare phenomenon occurred in the outback near Alice Springs.
It's a twister which has sent even weather experts spinning, flames spiralling 30 metres high, generating noise like a fighter jet.
But a comet is coming, a big and brilliant comet arriving in November 2013. It could potentially be 15 times brighter than the moon and visible in broad daylight over the U.S.
Breaking news this morning after a loud noise was heard across northwest Louisiana late last night. We're getting reports that a possible meteorite may have hit the ground.
Trying to get a handle on this.
Earthquake.
Wow.
Right now, scientists are working to figure out what that big ball of fire was that soared over Northern California tonight, causing a loud boom.
Folks were in awe, some of them in panic.
It was seen from Monterey to Mendocino and east to Sacramento.
Folks walking or driving around were amazed as the streaking fireballs and loud booms were observed.
You're listening to the Alternate Media Broadcast Network. The future is now.
An earthquake hit British Columbia on the other side of the Pacific. The U.S. Geological Survey reported its magnitude as 7.7 and at a depth of 10 kilometers.
A magnitude 7.7 earthquake hit the western Canadian coast of the Queen Charlotte Islands.
America's east coast is bracing itself for one of the biggest storms in history, barreling towards New York.
Right now, this storm looks like it's going to be headed for millions of people. It's going to be a transitioning system, meaning that perfect storm type scenario. A tropical storm that transitions into an extratropical storm because a cold front, a very powerful Arctic cold front, is going to interact with the system and draw it in towards the northeast, a very rare meteorological situation. So this could be historic, folks, and this could cause extensive, catastrophic damage. I'm not just standing here making this stuff up. I want people to really pay attention to this because, again, this could be worst-case scenario.
In the unusual track that it's going to be taking, that is coming in from the east across the Jersey coast, it's a once-in-a-lifetime story.
Since of Muslim, the U.S. State Department is dealing with a full-blown crisis. Some were small pockets, chanting, flag burning. Others exploded into deadly riots. But if we put all the demonstrations on a map, you can see how the anger has spread like a global plague. Over 30 countries saw protests today, and now a total of 6 American posts.
For a second day to denounce Japan over a territorial dispute. Some in Shenzhen are even calling for a bloodbath.
The number of dead over an amateur film deriding Islam is now more than 50, just 1 week since the protests began.
It's no longer about burning down US embassies in Muslim countries. In Europe, they're calling for holy war.
Indonesia's Mount Gamalama erupted in dramatic fashion on Sunday, spewing ash into the atmosphere, covering the nearby city of Ternate.
Fighting for his life after he was reportedly attacked and his face half-eaten by a naked man near the MacArthur Causeway. When police arrived on this truly bizarre scene, they say they were forced to open fire on the alleged attacker.
His face completely eaten, from the top of his forehead to almost his jaw. It wasn't just that he was being bit, it's that the person was actually swallowing pieces of his face.
His cannibalistic attacker unfazed by the officer's commands to stop.
When the police approached him, he turned around and growled and kept attacking the victim on the floor.
Part of a trend, an example of something larger and much more dangerous. Miami police say they've seen similar cases recently of people behaving strangely and showing what appears to be superhuman strength.
A New Jersey man allegedly cut out his entrails in front of police and then threw bits of his flesh and intestine.
The news is getting crazier and crazier.
And now to a shocking story out of Harford County, a case of cannibalism. Police say part of the remains discovered earlier this week were actually eaten.
The Center for Disease Control got back to me after the readers started talking about zombies. We brought our readership's question to the federal government, and they are saying no, there is no virus that can lead to zombie-like syndrome.
What's your name? Tell me what your name is?
You're listening to the Alternative Media Broadcast Network. The future is now.
Welcome to Sophie & Co. I'm Sophie Shepard-Nate. An heir to a fortune-turned mercenary boss, Eric Prince founded Blackwater, the world's biggest private military company, scoring billions in government contracts in Iraq and Afghanistan. But the public backlash that followed news of atrocities committed by his people forced him out of the business. Are mercenaries bound to cross lines? Can they be controlled? And is civilian suffering inevitable when people are given license to kill? Well, we'll ask the man himself in our program today.
Blackwater, the world's most powerful private army. A darling of the US government, they made a killing plunging holes in America's war on terror. But as soon as innocent Iraqis died, Washington is accused of hanging its paid fighters out to dry. Did the hired guns really go out of control in the war zone? Were they just thrown under the bus by the White House? Or did they get what was coming to them?
Eric Prince, founder of the biggest U.S. private military contractor, Blackwater. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us. So I'm just going to start from the very beginning. You created Blackwater to train U.S. Navy SEALs. So how did it become one of the biggest security contractors in the world?
Well, you know, I guess I was an accidental tourist. I got out of the Navy, out of the SEAL teams, because my father died, my wife was sick with cancer, so I built a facility to stay connected to the SEAL teams. You know, the SEAL team, Special Operations units in America have been using private facilities really since the 1970s, and no one had ever done it on an industrial scale. And so I